Oh, wonderful. Okay, awesome. Well, we will go ahead and get started then. So if at any point you're not able to hear me, we'll just give you a little orientation here. Make sure to turn up and check the sound on your computer. And then it looks like everyone has already found the chat function, but here it is for later to reference. We will ask you a couple questions and have you respond through that chat function. So on to our introductions. Here we have Georgia Ellers. She's the director of the Office of Fellowship and Community Engagement, which houses the Peace Corps Coverdell Fellows Program. Georgia is with me here today.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
I am Lauren Jager. I'm the graduate coordinator for the Peace Corps Coverdell Fellows Program. So I worked in the office last year. It was my first year as a fellow. And then I'm here for the summer, and I'll be continuing on next year. My job is to manage more of the current fellows. So a lot of you will have talked to Elizabeth Capacci in the past, who has graduated, and this year taking her place will be Lisa Florin. She'll be working in the office primarily doing outreach with potential applicants. So this is who you'll reach out to in our office if you ever have any questions. So we'd like to learn a little bit about you. So if you can share in the chat box your name, let us know where you're joining us from and what program you're interested. And then also one thing you packed for your Peace Corps service that you're really glad you brought. So I'll give you just a couple minutes. While people are typing in, like I said, my name is Lauren. I'm obviously joining from Tucson, here with Georgia. I served in Peace Corps Moldova, and I'm here for the public health program and getting an MBA through the dual degree program. One item I packed from Peace Corps service that I was really happy I brought was my headlamp. Awesome. So we have Dara, who is currently extending her Peace Corps service in Eswatini, interested in the MEPN program and public health. And one item that Dara brought with her was Heinz ketchup. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Dara. We have another message. Hello, I'm Nicole, joining from Tanzania today. I was so happy I brought a huge pack of hair ties. Ooh, I bet. Thanks for joining, Nicole. She's also interested in our MEPN program. Great. Okay, so we'll continue reading those introductions as they come in. Oh, there we go. We have one more. Hey, folks. I'm Deanna. I served in northern Ghana. I'm currently in San Jose, California, and also interested in the MEPN program. Super glad to have brought a good knife with me to cook with during service. Awesome. Welcome, Deanna. Okay. I'll give you all a brief overview of what we'll cover today. First off, we've covered introductions. Next, we'll go into the academic programs that are offered through the Coverdell Fellows Program. We'll talk about some programming, being the benefits and support that we offer our fellows, as well as the requirements everyone has to fulfill. We'll talk about the application process and timeline, as well as who to contact for academic versus Coverdell questions. And finally, we will chat a little bit about what we love about Tucson. So we want to talk about the academic foci and community issues of our fellows. We have great programs here at the University of Arizona and a wonderful community where our fellows work. We partner with 49 programs across 11 different colleges, which creates a large interdisciplinary network of Coverdell fellows working throughout academia and the community. When we think about the work that our fellows do, we can broadly categorize it in this way. So in art and design, that includes art education, museum studies, and landscape architecture. Environment includes agriculture and resource economics, environmental studies and policy, rangeland planning, and related natural resources. Education as a second language, English as a second language, rhetoric and composition, teacher education, educational leadership, and the language reading and culture program. Social studies includes geography, development practice, anthropology, Latin American studies, and the iSchool. In management, administration, and planning, we have the MBA program, public administration, and planning programs. STEM, this is where hydrology, biosystems, environmental, chemical, and civil engineering fit. And health includes public health and nursing. So we also have a couple dual degree programs that we work with as well.
I'm going to talk about the benefits that the Coverdell Fellows receive. This is always a main concern because higher education is quite pricey. I should be clear in the beginning, Peace Corps does not provide any funding to any university. So you will find a range of different funding packages at the different schools that are hosting Coverdell Fellows. And that's because each school is required to come up with support themselves. Peace Corps requires that at least 25% of tuition be covered, but beyond that, it's up to the school. Here at the U of A, we have 50 quarter-time graduate outreach assistantships that we can offer each year. So we bring in a new cohort each year of about 20 to 25 people, depending. And the outreach assistantship works in terms of benefits just like a teaching or a research assistantship. You're charged at the in-state rate. 0 non-resident tuition is charged. I repeat, 0 non-resident tuition. So when you're looking on our Bursar's tuition calculator, you would enter yourself as a resident of Arizona to calculate what tuition would be charged to you. This does not include fees, neither program fees nor what we call mandatory fees. And since you're all three, well, we have a fourth now, but 3 of you are interested in the nursing program, and it's charged in a little bit different way. So it definitely has some program fees. But if you look at the base tuition package on the tuition calculator, you'll see what the fellowship provides exactly. And it rolls from year to year. The Arizona Board of Regents sets the tuition each spring. So we don't know exactly what tuition will be for the upcoming year. So we basically give figures in terms of last year, and then the assistantship just rolls with the tuition if it changes. So in addition to the not being charged the non-resident tuition, the quarter-time assistantship will reduce the in-state base tuition to half of the charge. So we are covering 50% of the in-state base tuition. You also receive a stipend, and that's paid out bi-weekly over 21 pay periods. So from about the middle of August through after graduation. You're receiving a stipend every 2 weeks. And the total amount for the whole academic year is $8,500. We also cover student health insurance, which currently is valued at about $2,500 a year. It's with Aetna, and that actually covers the 12-month period beginning with the middle of August. It runs from about August 16th to August 15th of the following year. So those of you in the MEPIN program, your tuition for the summer is not covered, and your insurance for the first summer is not covered by this. You also receive a whopping 10% discount at the U of A bookstore for certain things. Unfortunately, I don't think that covers your nice Mac computer, but it covers a lot of other things, books and supplies and that sort of thing. In addition, we offer a work-study package to eligible incoming Coverdell Fellows up to $3,000. That's based on your financial need determined by the FAFSA form. If you're coming straight home from Peace Corps or are home for maybe 6 to 12 months, usually you're not going to have any issue demonstrating need. If you've come home and have a really cushy job, then you're going to be filing a reevaluation of resources once you quit your job and come to the university. And that way, most everybody coming in has benefits, unless you have a spouse who's been also working with a decent income or something else. Let's see. Okay, I think we can move on. Other support for our incoming fellows includes weekly communications. Lauren writes the best newsletter ever and keeps everybody appraised of what's going on, what is required, what you need to do to make things run smoothly. Late in the spring, early in the summer, usually in May or June for the incoming fellows, we have a virtual outreach assistantship fair. You can log in from wherever you are in the world. It's always fun to see what time it is. And we bring in all of our community agencies that have given us position descriptions for the next year. So it's a way of connecting you early on and setting up interviews that you'll hold. And this means that by the time you get here in August, you basically have your outreach assistantship placement lined up. You're assigned a Coverdell mentor who would be continuing second or sometimes a third year or sometimes an alum, depending, fellow or alum. And we provide a lot of support for your move to Tucson if you're not from Arizona or have never been to Tucson. So our Moving to Tucson guide is actually very popular in a lot of departments. So you might be getting it from your department anyway. We also send out housing and job announcements, and we hold a 3-part orientation the week before classes start for all incoming fellows, which includes just sort of generally going over finances, expectations, answering your questions. A second session is held with the agencies where we'll all be placed, so we all understand how we report hours, get paid, what to do if there are issues, etc. And then finally, we have a welcome back potluck on the last Friday of the week before classes, which last year was about 94 people coming, alumni and continuing fellows and new fellows and moms that help you move here and that sort of thing. So it's really a fun evening. And we use that also to sort of refine our storytelling for our Peace Corps story and to just basically get to know people. So that's kind of an intro to what we do.
Yeah. So we have a little bit of time for questions. So if you go ahead to the chat box, you can type anything that you have a question about so far. So we'll give you a minute or two. Also, for those of you who have joined, if you want to introduce yourself via the chat box, just let us know your name, where you're joining us from today, and which program you're interested in. We don't have any questions coming in just yet. So we will have another time to stop for questions. You're welcome to put questions in that chat box as they come to you, and we'll address them as we go. So unless something comes in 5 seconds, we're going to keep going. All right. So icebreaker question. Most of you have probably heard the phrase before, bringing service home. So this is the basis for the entire Peace Corps Coverdell Fellows program that's offered with over 100 institutions across the US. When you hear this phrase, what comes to mind? And what does bringing service home mean to you? Go ahead and use that chat box to chime in. Also, we have Stuart joining us on the road between VA and New York, interested in natural resources program and eyeing the watershed management program. Welcome, Great. Stuart. So Dara says, bringing service home is sharing cultures and experiences. Absolutely. We'll see if anybody else wants to chime in. Stuart, I really hope you're not driving while typing. Okay, well, the Coverdell program is based on this idea of at-home service. So therefore, the internship requirement includes part of that. So all fellows complete internships in underserved American communities, allowing them to bring home and expand upon the skills they learned as volunteers. These skills in adapting to new cultures, developing and managing projects, dealing with language barriers, and leveraging limited resources attract the attention of prospective schools. Whoops. So this is from the Peace Corps website. So this internship is what we call our outreach assistantship, and it's just one of the requirements of your fellowship. We use the term fellowship because your benefits are in exchange for service. So this is different than a scholarship, which is typically paid outright with no ongoing commitment. So what are the fellows requirements? Time commitment is always a concern for our applicants, and there are 4 areas of requirements, but most of the time is spent on the graduate outreach assistantship. This is where you provide your service to an underserved domestic community, and the service can be direct or indirect. So you have boots on the ground service or research being at a higher level. We also have group service projects. We organize various service projects each month and ask that fellows participate in at least 4 of them per year. We usually start with a service project at the beginning of the year. This year we'll be at the community food bank. In the past, we've also planted trees at Challenger High School, done trash pickups with Arizona Conservation Corps on Mount Lemon, tabled at Science City Tent at the Festival of Books, helped the Return Peace Corps Volunteers of Southern Arizona, called the Desert Doves, with the 4th Avenue Street Fair, and prepared meals for the Primavera Men's Shelter, and so on. In addition to the outreach assistantship and service projects, we ask that fellows do outreach at least 3 times per year. Fellows can do their third goal activities by visiting K-12 schools or here in UA classrooms. They help campus recruiters with recruitment events or tabling on campus, participate in events set up by the community outreach officer in our Peace Corps Fellows Club, and by visiting various community groups. Here are a few photos from our outreach showcase, which is one of the requirements as Coverdell Fellows. It's held in the spring every year to kick off Peace Corps Week. And this event ties together the Tucson community, our local partner agencies, and the academic departments at the U of A, highlighting the work and passions of our fellows. So here you'll see Joe worked at Monzo Elementary with some of their gardening projects. He's presenting, and a couple of our other fellows presenting their work. So everyone does this presentation. It's a great professional development opportunity, and it's a great connector to how we are serving all these various communities at a time.
As the slide says, where do fellows do their outreach assistantships? The fellows will be placed in the various sectors that we outlined at the beginning: public health, education, environment, and so on. And we also, sometimes people come in and say, I want to work with a particular population, refugees or a migrant population, or K-12 students or adult ESL learners, policymakers, etc. We have connections with about 150 nonprofit organizations in the Tucson community. Tucson is just full of nonprofit organizations. Coverdell Fellows may also be placed with outreach units of the U of A, which is a cooperative extension school. We have a lot of outreaches required here of all units. And we also work with school systems, Pima Community College, K-12 systems, and local government as well. We have the City of Tucson, South Tucson, and we have a number of federal agencies here, which may be of interest to you with your non-competitive eligibility. So we have a current fellow, for example, who will be with the Social Security Administration. We've had people at the Passport Center, the Department of Labor. There's a VA hospital here, etc. As we finalize our incoming cohort in the spring, we'll send out a call to all these partner agencies that we've worked with over time and ask them to submit position descriptions. Whoever submits may vary from year to year. A number of the continuing fellows will stay at the same position for the second year. So that agency may not be able to manage or supervise another fellow. So the mix can vary from year to year. We collect your resumes. That's something that is submitted with the application. So keep that in mind, that resume may be sent out to a nonprofit organization as well as be part of your evaluation for the Coverdell program. We do give you a chance to update the resume, however, because we often see some interesting things on those resumes that need to be fixed a little bit. So we'll send your resumes out to the agencies. We'll send their position descriptions out to you. And then we have this online free-for-all, shall we call it? It's quite interesting. It works pretty well. You get about 10 to 12 minutes to chat with, as in typing chat, with the different agencies. So you can load your photo, your resume, they can load something on their agency. And it actually works quite well in terms of getting everybody sort of connected. If you don't find your dream agency or somehow aren't able to get on, we of course follow up. So we hold the 2 virtual assistantship fairs. And then during the summer, we ask that you interview with at least 3 sites. Sometimes this is problematic. People don't really know, they're not familiar with Tucson. So again, we provide services here in the office to talk about the different organizations and to try to help you connect with the place that most meets your interest. During orientation week, as I've mentioned, we bring all the fellows and the agency supervisors together, so you get to meet all those people that you chatted with and more, because Tucson is a very, I would say, interdependent, synergistic kind of community. So we'll find it's also a pretty large community. The metro area has about 1 million people. So you'll find people working in similar work in different parts of the metro area, and sometimes they know about each other and sometimes they don't. So our program has been sort of a great connector for everybody. The outreach assistantships are really a great way to become a part of the community. I think one of the most moving evaluations that I received once was that they had written, I feel more a part of the Tucson community than I ever did my hometown. So to me, that really spoke to the strength of the program and the ability to not just have a rewarding academic experience, but also to really integrate and feel like a real part of what is really an amazing, strong community here. We'll talk about why we love Tucson a little bit later. Okay. And I also wanted to mention on our website, you'll see a section called People, and you'll see our friendly faces first, but click on Alumni and you can see where people have done their service, where they are now working, and where they have landed over the course of time. It's really interesting to me to sort of look at that progression. And we also have a tab called Agencies, and we list a lot of the agencies there with their website and so on that we've worked with. And here you'll see Abby Struekas here at Monzo Elementary on the left, and Clinic Amistad is a all volunteer, well, it's 99% volunteer clinic, which serves uninsured persons here. And we've had a lot of fellows working there for 7, 8 years. It's been very rewarding to see how the agency's developed over time.
All right, we'll give you another moment to type in any questions that you have. Stuart is not driving and said that he would define home service as being included in and invested in communities at home. So thank you, Stuart. That was a great response. So we'll give everyone just 1 minute to think of and type any questions they have in that chat feature.
Of, oh, I'm muted.
There we go.
Okay. We've been showing you a lot of environmental views of the Tucson area. So you'll see it's a desert, but it's also kind of a nice, lush green desert as well. I think this was from one of our service projects with Sky Island Alliance, where
yeah, we went out to Sabino Canyon. There are a couple of invasive species that are very prone to fire that have popped up around Tucson. So a group before us had gone out and removed a lot of the invasive species, and then we went in and helped plant native plants and do a lot of watering. So it was a beautiful day and obviously a really beautiful canyon to be in. So we do have one question from Dara. Do people have challenges balancing the school class load and their community service projects? That is always a concern, but it depends a lot on which program and which service projects they are signing themselves up for. So we require 4 service projects per year. We organize 1 per month that you are welcome to join in on. A lot of our fellows do more than 1 service project just because they're fun, but we do schedule the service projects on Saturdays or Sundays so that they're not interfering with class schedules. Other fellows have found that, I'm thinking of one person in particular who was volunteering at a local animal shelter and counted that towards some of her hours because that was just what she loved doing anyway. So she was able to find projects that fit within her schedule nicely to make sure she was filling those requirements.
I would say you have to be organized, and that's one reason we do such a thorough orientation and over the summer and before school, is to sort of give you a head start with that. And particularly in programs like nursing, which are very fast paced, it takes a little extra organization. But I mentioned the Clinic Amistad photo as a clinic where a lot of fellows have worked, and a lot of people in the nursing program have been able to be there along with their class site. And you'll find that there's sort of I don't know, an ebb and flow to the school year. You know, there's midterms and finals. A few departments like the business school have a cycle of every 6 weeks. MEPIN has a little bit different cycle than some of the programs, but you figure out what that is and where you have these little windows. And, you know, 10 hours a week for an assistantship is not actually that much time if you think about your whole week. And there are ways to sort of make up hours if necessary. So we do make sure that the agencies understand the academic schedule and the other requirements that the fellows have. And the people that work with us are generally flexible, but we do hold people accountable. We have a great reputation in the community, and we're looking for people that have that commitment to managing their time well and to really wanting to be of service in the community.
Yeah, I'll just add on to that. Our fellows are rock stars. They do wonderfully in their academic programs and in their community. So we definitely look for applicants who are willing to take on that challenge. So we get a good bunch.
You can do it is the bottom line. It always works out is my second platitude that I repeat endlessly.
Yeah. It doesn't look like we have any other questions, but again, if something comes up, feel free to add it to the chat box, and we're going to move on and talk a little bit about the applications. Okay, it's very important to recognize that you must apply to both your academic program and the Coverdell Fellows program separately. These are two separate applications, and many of them have separate deadlines. So you'll want to mark in your calendar our dates and then go in and find your academic program's application dates and make sure that you hit those separately. Our priority deadline for the Fellows program is January 15th. Applications can be submitted through March 1st for our final deadline, but anything submitted after January 15th won't be read until the second round of applications. So a lot of our first choices come out of that January 15th deadline. So we strongly recommend that deadline. Also, if you're eager and excited to get started, we will begin accepting applications in November through that March 1st deadline. This is what the application looks like. It's all submitted online on our website under the application. We ask for background information about the program of interest that you are looking for to study, Peace Corps service information. We ask for a copy of your description of service, a resume, and there are 3 essay questions. All of the application is completed in one round, so you're not able to go into the website, do half of your application, and return to it later. So your essay should be saved and ready to be uploaded when you're ready to apply. Ideally, they should be proofread ahead of time as well. One question that we get quite frequently is, if I'm still in service and I don't have my signed description yet, can I still apply? Yes, you can. We ask for a draft of the description of service, and then if you are accepted into the program, we do require a signed copy on file before the semester begins.
And this last year, we've also been receiving letters from country directors or someone that you're reporting to from U.S. Peace Corps. So if there's any question, that's really helpful also. The DOS statement now declares your eligibility, and that is the one thing that we really have to check for. So getting a clear statement of your eligibility from one of your supervisors would be an excellent way to help us out.
Another question that we get frequently is if we can waive academic application fees. Those are charged through the graduate college, and we are not able to waive those. So there's no application fee for the Coverdell program. Your department may require an application fee, and we are not able to waive those.
Okay. Continuing on the theme of the admissions process, we will basically receive, I'm going to talk about how the incoming class is selected. We'll receive the applications, we'll read them internally with the staff, and we also farm them out to other staff in our Office of Fellowships and Community Engagement. And we also communicate with the academic programs in terms of admission status and their priorities. And finally, we also have our alumni review applications. We will accept, I would say, sort of informal references from current fellows who know you. That all happens. Quite a few people are able to visit us. We can't pay for that, but if you're coming to visit on an admitted student's day or to your academic program, we strongly encourage you to make an appointment with our office as well so we can meet you. So it's a mix of all these things. We think of it as a holistic kind of review. We're looking at your Peace Corps experience, your ability to reflect on that. We have a lot of people around us who have served in Peace Corps all over the world and have had all kinds of challenges and experiences. So we understand the range of events, emotions, unexpected things. So we're challenging you to really take all of this 27 months of experience and wrap that into a reflective statement. There are 3 essays, but I also wanted to point out there are more than 3 questions in the 3 essays. So you kind of sandwich all of that together. We'll rank all of the applications, and we do that by the academic program or program area. We have a lot of specific interest and needs in the community, kind of reflected by the agencies, partner agencies that we work with. So we're also trying to fill those needs, as well as find people that are going to be a great fit with the University of Arizona and the Coverdell program here and the kinds of things that we do here. We'll look specifically at your resume, at your specific skills, and Peace Corps is doing a strong job these days on how to do that resume. So before you write that resume, jump in there and figure out how to talk about the skills that you've cultivated while you're in Peace Corps. We, as Lauren has said, the first round of reviews are sent out in January, practically as soon as we get everything organized. The second round is sent out later in March. But again, getting them in early is much preferred, and that's true of your academic application as well. We do generally wait to hear from the academic unit that you're admitted into the academic program. It's kind of a disappointing thing to get a Coverdell offer and then not be admitted. We will generally begin sending out notices in April, and we continue until the cohort is complete. Our cohort is not yet complete for next year. So sometimes I know people feel like they're on the wait list forever, but it is just part of the admission process sometimes. And we're waiting on academic departments. Sometimes we're waiting on students to submit all of their required documents. So there are a lot of wheels grinding. We shoot to try to admit, I would say 20 to 25 fellows per year, but it can vary depending on the number who graduate, the number who are in a one-year program like Teach Arizona or the nursing program. So again, we target having a total of 50 fellows over the course of the year. I did write down my stats today for our applications from next year. It is a competitive process. You do not get automatically admitted. Last year we had 97 applications for basically 21 slots. So 10% were not admitted. We made 31 offers to date. 22 have accepted, 9 have declined, and 13%, about 13 people, have matriculated without the Coverdell Fellowship. So that's where we are this year. It's always kind of astounding to me. We are one school that does accept doctoral students. We still only provide 2 years of support, but we also have about another 20 Coverdell people who have served as Coverdell Fellows who are in doctoral programs on campus. So, and then we have a lot who come anyway. They want to be here. It's a great school. And they find other funding. We also help those students who don't get the Coverdell Fellowship look at other ways to fund your school here. So we really we really appreciate the Coverdell Return Peace Corps volunteer community greatly on campus and do our best to get all of you here.
Yep, we stick up for all of our RPCVs, fellows or not. So how to be a competitive applicant? I think we just talked a lot about most of these points. Like Georgia said, the process is very competitive. So you do need to take time and be reflective in your application. Be mindful of your essays and resume and everything that you're submitting. Like Georgia said, everything is holistic. We're not just looking at 1 or 2 points. And some of the criteria you'll see listed on our website. So we want to see a focus and purpose in academic and professional goals, dedication to service of an underserved community in the region, continued dedication to the 3rd goal of Peace Corps, connection and fit with the University of Arizona academic and Coverdell programs and opportunities, demonstrated initiative or leadership, and cultural and developmental maturity in the face of challenges of Peace Corps and or other domestic or international work.
Can I go ahead and, there's one other thing I meant to say on the application. We've been, I've been speaking with our Coverdell liaison with U.S. Peace Corps, and one thing that we're always curious about, a lot of people will write us and say, I am finishing my service in September and I'm applying to start this year. And it's really been pointed out to us that it is at the discretion of each country director if and when you can be released from service to go back to school. And the opinion expressed by our liaison was that most country directors, in this person's experience, they've been with the agency for a while, are very strict about it. So we really like to have applicants who are applying who can clearly be here by mid-August. So if you fall into that category where you're getting out in late August or early September, please talk to your country director or your advisors, supervisors in country about their policies about that, because we don't want you to go through paying for application fees and all the time that's involved in it, and then end up not being able to come. It's a real heartbreak.
Also, having time between your service and graduate school is a wonderful idea that many of our fellows do. So if you're one of the people coming out in September, apply for the next year. Come back, adjust, reflect, recover, do what you need to do, and then apply for that next year. A lot of our fellows are not freshly back from Peace Corps, and they have taken some time out to adjust and to go into the work field and then decide and solidify what they want out of their graduate school experience before applying. And we do appreciate those. So don't feel like you have to dive in right away.
And we understand the NCE urge to
Yes.
get out and put it on hold. But there are ways to do that where it all works out. So try not to panic. Reflecting on your Peace Corps experience once you get home is a whole other thing to do.
Yep. So who to contact?
Yeah, basically.
If you have a question about your academic program, you need to be reaching out to the academic program. If you have a question about the Coverdell program and what we offer, that would be for our office. So here we've listed both websites, the graduate college programs, so you can go there to see what's required there and get contact information for the academic program. Also, our website is listed here. So we're happy to answer questions about orientation, moving to Tucson, the application, funding, and any academic program referrals that may be required.
And I'll just add, sometimes we get questions about, I don't know what program to apply to. I'm interested in this, this, and this. And we have on the grad college main page, grad.arizona.edu, the programs link that you see there. It's a great overview of all the different graduate academic programs. So you can go in and type in, for example, hydrology or water resources, and it'll pop up in about 4 or 5 different departments. So you can kind of look at the different ones, see what the different criteria are, gauge. You know, I encourage people to go in and take a look at classes. The catalog is out there, see what's offered, see if that's what you really want to do. Don't be surprised when you get here by what you're going to do. It's a great idea to try to connect with the graduate coordinator of the program, read their websites, read about the research interest of the faculty before you contact them. So find out as much as you can, and then go in and try to contact them and communicate.
So what do you do now? Be aware of your academic program deadlines. Submit both your applications to the academic program and the fellows program. Remember that January 15th deadline. Visit us if you're able, and of course, file the FAFSA between October and March 1st.
And I wanted to add on, we don't have access to your academic application. So write your Coverdell essay as a standalone entity. Even though it's repetitive, I have 2 adult daughters who have gone through a lot of grad school themselves, so I understand the pain. But, you know, if you efficiently organize all of that, you can come up with some really good stuff. And we help students with fellowship applications in our office also. So I always like to put that cash value of whatever I'm applying for in a little sticky note on my laptop. So I know why I'm doing this and why this is worth spending time on. So,
all right.
And get organized. Do your little calendar with your deadlines for yourself. It helps.
Yep.
Deadlines help.
Absolutely. So now we'll just chat a little bit about Tucson and how wonderful it is. So personally, I love Tucson for how diverse it is. Aside from being only an hour away from the Mexico border, we have a huge population of resettled refugees. Arizona actually ranks in the top 10 states for resettled refugees. So there are a ton of languages spoken here and many different cultures.
There are 67 languages spoken in the Tucson Unified School District here. So it's not just a English, Spanish community at all. So
absolutely. Tucson is a beautiful place with gorgeous weather from October to May. So you can run, climb, cycle, hike to your heart's content. It's awesome. Also in the summer, well, anytime, you can drive up to Mount Lemmon. It takes a little over 30 minutes for great hiking and camping and an instant relief from the summer heat. So it's right there when you need to get away. Cost of living is extremely affordable. So many fellows coming in are able to get a nice house with a yard if they have a pet and things like that, and not be blown away by expenses. Because of the university and the big arts and music and cultural scenes, there are always fun events happening. We have the street fair twice a year. Tucson Meet Yourself or Tucson Eat Yourself has a great culinary fair. Art and music shows on campus as well as off campus. There's just a ton of things to do. So.
And I think that most of the people who come here tell us that the great Peace Corps community here is what really attracted them. And that's one of their favorite things about being here. Years ago, I joked about resettling Tucson with returned Peace Corps volunteers, and we've done a pretty good job. We know we have, probably, if you look at the National Peace Corps Association directory, you'll see around 400 to 600 returnees in Southern Arizona. I know specifically we have at least 125 of our 425 alumni here, And we have about 50 to 75 return Peace Corps volunteers on the faculty and the staff. And to me, it's really a joy that many of our placement sites for our outreach assistantships have site supervisors who are alumni of our Coverdell Fellows program. And I think that what gets expressed to me a lot is I just felt right at home the minute I walked in. There are other people that have had, they may or may not be in have been in your country of service, but they've had the Peace Corps experience and they understand. And it's really exciting to me to see how our PCVs work in our Tucson community on issues that really matter. They're super active with the migrant detainee issues right now, and with really helping on the ground. We have a lot of people that speak the dialect from Central America that a lot of the crossers speak, so we're really very helpful. The other day I got a request for a Tigrinya speaker to do medical translating for a family at one of the clinics. So the Peace Corps community is well known here and much appreciated. It's a beautiful place to live, and we have a hot summer. I think a bunch of you are logging in from Africa, so you'll be fine with it. We also have a lot of air conditioning here, so so even if you don't like the heat, you can escape. We often have our sweat. In fact, I think Lauren is wearing a sweater today because we're freezing inside. So we're also a UNESCO City of Gastronomy, the first and only designation in the United States. So if you're a foodie, this is just an amazing place to be. It's there's a lot of ethnic foods, restaurants, a lot of food trucks, little hole-in-the-wall places that are really kind of wonderful, and a lot of grocery stores that different refugees have started up, so you can really get authentic food here from almost the whole world. It's really wonderful.
Yes, we eat very well.
And you'll see cycling, rock climbing, hiking, obviously. Swimming is amazing here. We have world-class runners here who appear, a lot of people here appear in the Olympics and really run nationally, but there's also just like a really wonderful community. If you're not an outdoor person, our beloved Elizabeth Capasi last year kept saying, I hate the outdoors. There's also a really lively literature and arts community here, so something for everyone here. We hope you'll come.
Yeah. All right, so final round of questions. First of all, thank you so much for joining. I know almost all of you have some extreme time differences with us right now, so thank you so much for being a part of this. Any additional questions, feel free to add into that chat box. While I'm waiting for some questions, we have recorded today's session and we'll send a link. I think a couple of people had some internet issues and we're jumping it on and off. So you will be able to view an entire webinar on a recording link that we'll send out probably next week. So give us a couple of days to get everything prepared and ready to go, and then that'll be available to you. So if you want to rewatch the webinar before submitting your application, you can do that anytime.
And we will be holding a webinar at least monthly through the application season, starting about now. And we'll kind of mix it up. We kind of do this general introduction, but we'll also invite fellows from different disciplines to be on and ask how they've managed their time. That is always an important question. And what kind of work that they do in the community here is another kind of big one that where it's really nice to hear from the fellows.
Yeah.
And to the person who's in Eswatini, I'm going to be visiting there in October in South Africa. So send me an email. We're hoping to visit with the country director in Eswatini and say hello to Nelson in Tanzania, who's from Tucson. And yeah.
Nicole says, thank you for the audio link. The internet has been a little temperamental. No problem, Nicole. I'm glad that worked out for you. Okay, well, any other questions, please feel free to shoot us an email. Both Georgia and I are listed on the website right now. Again, starting in mid-August, Lisa will be joining our team and we'll be happy to discuss with everyone. We do have one question that came in. Would we visit Arizona and Coverdell separately in Tucson? I think you're wondering, Stuart, let me know if I'm understanding correctly, visiting your academic program and the Coverdell program separately. We do have our own office, so if you are coming to Tucson to visit, we recommend setting up an appointment with our office to discuss and setting up an appointment with the graduate coordinator for your academic program.
And the faculty.
And faculty.
Especially over in hydrology, it's really important to have a faculty sponsor. So you definitely want to start reaching out to faculty persons in that particular area.
Yeah. Oh, Dara's going to miss you. She will be done with her service by the time you go.
Well, it'll be, I'm really looking forward to my trip. It's going to be so much fun.
Congratulations on being so close to COS.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. You did it.
Yeah. It's
Awesome.
great.
Okay. Well, again, thank you all so much for joining in. We really appreciate it, and we will be in touch. So have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.